Of sitting in the front row, nice footrest, right? Come on, that's awesome right there. Welcome to the sixth graders to over the high school area. We're excited that you're here, and we've got a real quick time that I want to get you caught up. You're actually coming over in the middle of a series that we're doing called Guardrails, okay? And so I want to get you caught up a little bit to where we are, and then we're going to move into a particular area of life today. And it's going to be interesting, it's going to be kind of awkward, and we're going to have fun with it, so it's going to be a good time together. So let's just start and pray, okay? Father, we thank you so much for who you are. We thank you for giving us wisdom, God. Thank you for talking to us, for wanting us to grow. And, Lord, just give us discernment and understanding today that we can become more like you. In your name I pray. Amen. All right, guardrails. Guardrails are these things we see on roadways, right? They're systems designed to keep vehicles from going off the road or into off-limit areas, into dangerous areas. So we put these metal barriers in place to keep vehicles from going off the road. Okay, so we typically find these in a few different locations. We find them in bridges. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tie these very quickly to how this relates to your life. Okay, so I want you don't miss this. I want you to catch it. Junior hires, this is like just review time. It's just great. It's maybe something new for you. You find them on bridges, right? Bridges are areas in the roadway that there is little to no margin for error. And there are times in your life where you'll find yourself in maybe a friendship or relationship or a situation in life where just a small mistake, just one decision can really get you into a lot of trouble. There's just little room for error in those situations or those relationships. So we need to put guardrails up in our life to protect us in those situations. We find them in medians. You know what a median is? It's like the space that divides two lanes of traffic that going in opposite directions. So like the highway. The highway has these barriers between like northbound 75, back over here, and southbound 75. They put medians, and there are times in life that you are around people that are moving in a different direction than what you want your life to move in. And so you need to put barriers, because if there's not something that protects you there, and you make a head-on collision with somebody going 75 miles an hour, it's not going to be pretty. And so we need those in our life. We need things in our life to create a boundary, safety, when we're moving, when we're around people that are moving in different directions than us. We also find them in curves, like really curvy roads. My wife and I are going down to Tennessee this weekend, and where we stay, these roads are just wicked, crazy curvy. They're just unreal. And you can see in some spots where like those guardrails came in handy for someone. Like they got mangled. Can you show some of those pictures we showed last week? They got mangled. Like that's not necessarily Tennessee, but like you can tell that guardrail came in handy for someone, right? Let's keep going there. There's another one. The idea here is that by hitting the guardrail, you're going to do less damage to your vehicle and your body than you would by entering into the area on the other side of that guardrail. That's kind of the concept. It's going to hurt, but it's going to be less than whatever's on the other side. Can you imagine eating lunch at that picnic table when a car... Like my first thought when I saw this was, I hope they have a bathroom there. Right? Because like you're going to need it if you're sitting at that picnic table. Right? Like I don't know why my first thought was that. Don't ask. It just was. Go back to that boat one. Did you already show that one? The boat one? This person needed a guardrail there. How does that even happen? And my thought was this, I wonder if that's her car. She looks kind of proud about what she just did. Like, try that one. That's awesome. So you get it. You see, we need things in our life to protect us. So what's a guardrail? What does that look like for us in our lives? We understand what it looks like on a roadway, but what does it look like for us in our lives? So here's the idea of a guardrail in your personal life. It's a set of practices. It's things that you do. Okay, it's a personal decision, but it's a personal standard of behavior, practices that becomes a matter of conscience, that ignites your conscience, that energizes your conscience, that when you see or experience or find these things happening around you, something inside of you just does like a red flag, like a warning, like, well, I need to slow down, to watch out, because if I go any further, it could be some really bad things in life that take place. So let me just throw out an example, and then we'll move into where we're headed today, okay? This is all just kind of catching you guys up. So an idea for a guardrail. Your conscience should light up. There should be warning lights and some red flags that take place that tell you, I need to stop and reevaluate before I move any further. When you catch yourself pretending to be someone that you actually are around certain people. Or when somebody, like somebody you care about, like your parents or your friends, say, man, when you hang around those people, you just act differently. That should be like something should pop in your head like, okay, something's not right with that relationship. Something's not right with me when I'm around those people. And I need to reevaluate, stop, and maybe redirect course there. That's the idea of the guardrails. Does that make sense? Right? Awesome. So here's where we're going to move today. That was kind of a relational one, how we are around just people, friends in general, friendships. Today we're going to move into essentially, why do we act the way we do with people that maybe we don't get along with? Why do we default to like making fun of people? Why do we default to bullying people? Why do we default to gossiping about people? Why does that even happen? And so we're going to move into a passage of scripture that I am positive that you are very, very familiar with, that you've heard, and you've probably missed this, because it's very subtle. Okay, it's kind of hidden, and I didn't really catch it until I read a book probably about 7 years ago, that when I read this, I was like, holy cow, how did I miss this? It's obvious. Now I'm going to tell you, it's going to be kind of goofy, it's going to be kind of awkward, and you're just hanging with me, because we'll work through that. It's a fun one here. Let me just share this about myself. I find myself, oftentimes my sense of humor can be kind of sarcastic. Like I don't know what it is about that. I like to kind of like make fun of people. You know what I mean? Are you with me? Like I know that's terrible, but like I like joking around. But when my brother-in-law and the Dr. Or my father-in-law go golfing, like we like to razz each other. We like to make fun of each other. I don't know why that is about me. I just do it. Our culture's like that, isn't it? Like we just love to, like nothing is off limits to be made fun of. Matter of fact, we have, like the major trend right now with YouTube videos are those fail videos. You know what I'm saying? Like all we do is put like a compilation of people just really just mess it up. You know what I mean? And then we ridicule, like we just laugh at it. It's hilarious. Why do we do that? Like do you ever find yourself just like, there's been times where I've done that and I walk away like, why did I just do that? Like, why did I just say that to that person? Have you ever caught yourself thinking that? Like, you just walked away like, man, I was a jerk just then. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. And so, when I take a look at this, in scripture, I'm like, okay, if this is the way, for some reason, our culture is, this is the way life is, what is God said about this? He told us why, and He told us how to recorrect this thing. So, you guys ready? We're going to go to Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2, that's where we're headed. Okay, so if you don't have your Bibles, we'll put it up on the screen for you. If you do have your Bibles, Genesis chapter 2, very common story. It's the story of creation. And specifically, it's the story of when Adam and Eve, when God creates Eve for Adam. Okay? But hang on, because I know you've heard this, but I'm almost positive you missed this. Because I missed it for 20-some years. Okay? So check this out. We have this account where, first of all, God creates everything, right? And He says it's awesome, it's beautiful. He creates man. And the first thing He does with man is He realizes man is lonely. He's by himself. For some reason, he sees that. He recognizes that about man, about Adam. So the first thing He does is what? He makes a wife? No. The first thing He does is tell him to go name the animals. Isn't that weird? And I think in our minds, we picture Adam like sitting on this log, right? Like sitting here, and then like God's just kind of parading these animals across, and He's just kind of like naming them, you know, like hippo, dog, platypus. Why not be creative? I don't know. But He's sitting there. Think about how many species this is. And I think in our minds, it's like it probably took him an afternoon. Think about how many animals there are in the world. And for Adam to be able to name them, he probably needed to see them in their natural habitat. Like to be able to get an idea of what this animal is like, and what do they do, and how do they interact with each other, and how do they interact with other animals. It probably took him a really, really long time. We also find out that when Cain and Abel were born, Adam was already like over 100 years old. Which means that either it took Adam a really long time to name his animals, or he and Eve just were like hanging out and not being a married couple for like 100 years. So I have a feeling that it took Adam a really long time, and this whole time he's noticing this thing about, man, that all of these animals have somebody. They have this like relationship, these functions that they work within communities, and I'm by myself here. And I think when you realize that, and then all of a sudden God creates Adam, not just like randomly speaking, but he takes a part of Adam and makes Eve. You got to think, man, Adam must have been absolutely blown away at the impact of the relationship he could have had. And he must have spent an incredible amount of time with guys who were like, oh, you are awesome. How do you do this? How do you even know me that well? So that's the story that we're seeing. You know how Moses is the one who writes this. You know how Moses wraps all of that up? Check this out. Genesis 2, chapter 2, verse 25. This is how he wraps this whole thing up. Incredible thing. This is how he wraps it up. If this doesn't like mess you up for a second, you're sleeping. So this is how he says. Last verse of this whole thing. The man and his wife were both naked and felt no shame. What? Like, did you really just go there? Like, naked? Like, why are we even talking about them being naked anyway? Like, you're going to take all of the creation story, all of this relationship that takes place, and you're going to wrap it up by saying they were naked and they weren't embarrassed by it? That is weird. And so, I'm thinking through this, and I'm kind of working through. You know what's also weird? Moses mentions them being naked like 4 other times. Like he's like stuck on this thing. You know what's weird about being naked, by the way? Yeah, there's a lot that's weird about being naked. Let's just be honest with you. We're going to throw it out there. It's weird, right? You know what's weird? The only thing you can think about when you're naked is that you're naked. Like, that's it. Like, if you were to go to a store and you needed to buy some bread and you happen to be naked, you're not going to go in there and do some price checking. Am I right? Like, you're going to go in there and you're going to grab that bread and you're going to, like, run out like crazy. There's this awkwardness, this shame that we have. I don't know what it is, but it's tied into this. Here's what I want you guys to grab a hold of. There is something about that relationship between Adam and God that he was able to be naked and didn't even realize he was naked. You know what Moses says about the first thing that takes place after the fall? After Adam and Eve sin, they disobey, the first thing that happens, they realize they're naked. All of a sudden they're filled with shame and guilt and like all of this stuff. In a lot of ways we have it easy because we've always kind of felt this broken relationship with God. But Adam and Eve had this perfect relationship with God. And then in a moment it's gone, just like that. And all of a sudden this insecurity and all of these things started flooding their life. And here's what I think Moses was kind of trying to communicate to us. We are so wired, don't miss this. We were created and we are so wired that all of our security, all of our value, our meaning in life, our rightness with God is supposed to come from someone outside of ourselves. And God created us in a way that He would bring that value. He would give us that security. He would allow us to be right with Him because we experience a relationship with Him. And then when sin takes place in life with Adam and Eve, and sin takes place in our own life, that relationship is broken. And so all of a sudden we're like looking for that value and that security and that meaning in life from something outside of ourselves. That's the way we're created. But it's not coming from God because the relationship with God's broken. And so what we end up doing is we end up creating this, what's kind of like a lifeboat. You know what a lifeboat is? It's like you have a big boat, like a yacht, a cruise ship. And they have all these little lifeboats on it in case the big boat sinks. They have these little boats that you can get into and go to safety. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like we have created these lifeboats, and because we're not feeling this security, it's like something in our life is at stake. And so we start trying to find security and value in it. And if we can at least make ourselves seem more valuable than someone else in our little lifeboat, then all of a sudden, okay, at least I have some value because I have more value than this person. And we begin assigning things, random things, like the clothes you wear, or the fact that you can throw a football, or that you're fast. Like things that really, like what value do they bring to you? But if you can assign value to something, and you can say, hey, at least I'm more of this than that person, then all of a sudden we try to find that value. The funny thing is it doesn't work, and it never sustains us. Like we always have to keep finding that value. And here's what we end up doing. In order to make ourselves feel better, we end up bashing someone else. We end up gossiping about people, spreading stuff around, so that everybody around us can see, well, at least I'm better than that person. At least I'm better than this person. You know what else is interesting? When Jesus comes along, in this whole, thousands of years later, he comes into this world and he acts like the lifeboat thing doesn't even exist. Like it doesn't even matter. He started doing everything that like you wouldn't want to do in the lifeboat. He hangs out with people that aren't the valuable people in that society. He hangs out with people that are ridiculed, that are outcasts. Matter of fact, he talks to the people who are like the uppity of the society, the people that have a lot of value in the society. And he talks to them like, you guys are just lost. And he completely just demolishes this concept. Here's the thing, I want you guys to catch this. You were created so that all of your value, all of your security, your meaning in life, all of that was supposed to come from this relationship with God. And sin gets in the way, that relationship gets broken, and we try to find that same stuff from other things. And a lot of times that looks like, at least if I can be more valuable than someone else. So I'll start doing that. You know what that really is? It's insecurity. That's what it stems down to. It's identity. It's you don't know who you are or whose you are, and so you have to find a way to make yourself seem important. The only way to correct this path, the only way to stop this, is to begin placing your dependence in the relationship with God and asking God to bring that value in your life. We're going to talk about a couple of guardrails here. Just some basic things. Matter of fact, it's kind of dumb, like just hold on with it. We have like a little acronym we're going to work through, right? We're going to help each other out with this. It's helpful. We're going to help each other out with this. But before we get into that, what if you began living your life this way? What if you began living life as if God gave you your value in life? What if all of a sudden you didn't feel the need to make fun of people? What if all of a sudden you didn't feel the need to gossip and spread stuff around about people? How would that change your relationships? How would that change your class? What could you guys accomplish together because you're not tearing each other down? What could you do with your life if all of a sudden the relationships around you were healthy because you were dependent on God for that value and not the people around you who are ultimately, we're going to let each other down from time to time? What if you lived life that way? I'm telling you, I think we can return back to, I don't think we can walk around naked. Like that's not going to happen until maybe hopefully not. You're not going to return to that. We're still broken people. But we can live in a way that we don't have to rip on each other. We don't have to try to find value from each other. So here's some things that I just want to encourage you guys. As you're finding yourself in situations where you feel like you're like on the verge of making fun of someone, you're on the verge of like spreading stuff around, I want you to hold on to these 4 simple concepts. Okay, 4 simple concepts. It's just help, right? Help each other out with this. First thing, just hold on. Hold on. If you have a thought, if you have something, if you can like stop that for a second, and you can just hold on for a bit, and you can process what you're about to do. Just pause. Matter of fact, just do that in life in general. If you can think before you act, you're gonna have a lot less regrets in life. But just hold on for a second. Okay? Matter of fact, if you're around a group of people and you're starting to see, man, they're starting to make fun of someone, or they're starting to say something, that's all you have to do is be like, hey, hold on a second. We're common language right now, so we all get that. If someone tells you, like, hold on, like, just chill for a second and stop and think about what you're doing. Here's the thought process that needs to happen when you're holding on. Why am I about to do this? Why am I about to make fun of this person? What is that? What am I trying to achieve? What am I trying to get out of that? Just hold on and ask yourself that question. Okay? The second thing is, instead of doing whatever you're about to do, encourage that person instead of tearing them down. If you're around a group of people and you're like just bad-mouthing someone, or you're about to, instead of doing that, encourage that person in front of those people. I promise you can always find something positive about people. Find something positive and speak that into their life, as opposed to something that's tearing them down. So hold on, then encourage them. This is a good one. This next one I want to leave you guys with. It's leave. Just walk away. If you're around a group of people that are making comments that are tearing, just walk away from them. I tell you what, if one person's doing that, if one person is getting ready to say something and the whole group walks away, they've got no one to say it to. You don't have to go crazy and yell and scream or whatever, but if you just take their influence away from them by literally removing yourself from that equation, they'll get the point. And they'll start pulling away from doing those things. Don't let it happen. Walk away from it. Walk away from those times. If you're finding yourself doing it, just stop and walk away. Just leave. Don't let it happen. Last thing I want to encourage you guys is be praying for each other. Matter of fact, if you're finding yourself in those situations where you're around people and those things are starting to come up, like gossip and ripping on people, if those things are starting to come up, when you leave, go stop and pray for that person. Matter of fact, start praying for the people who are making fun of and who are instigating these things, because really, where is it coming out of? It's coming out of a feeling, a need of insecurity, that they need that value in their life. And they're broken and they're hurting, and so they respond this way. Go up to them and pray for that person. And you'd be surprised at what that will do in someone's life. I want to challenge you guys, if you can grab this now in life, this concept that we were created, we were wired in such a way that all of our value comes from God. Who we are comes from God. And because the relationship's broken, that's why I have that need to make fun of someone. That's why I have that need to gossip and tear people down. If I can understand that about myself and then begin just pushing into a relationship with God again and asking God to bring that value, if you guys can grab that now, the rest of your life will be better. The rest of your life will go in a different direction. And you can go through some really troubled times, some really difficult times, and still feel right with God. You can still have value and meaning in your life. You won't have to deal with, not saying guaranteed, but you're probably not going to have to deal with the depression stuff and the broken relationships. Not saying that that's completely out of the equation, but I'm saying a lot of that comes from us not really understanding who we are. If you guys can grab this now, this concept that Moses makes about using nakedness, using nudity, this weird, why did you go there kind of thing. If you can understand that, man, he's telling us something really important. That we're wired to get our value from God in such a way that when it was right, you could be naked, not even realize it, because there's not the weirdness, there's not the awkwardness. We need to get back to that. And that will help the other relationships we have in life. Let me pray for you guys, and then we'll head out, okay? God, I thank you for the opportunity we have to come together, to learn something new, something different, to be challenged by people who wrote these things thousands of years ago, that are giving us insight into life that's important and relevant to us now. God, help us to begin searching for our value, our identity, our meaning from you. Not from how we rank with other people around us, not from the relationships that we have, not from the things that we have, not from the abilities that we have in life, but from a right relationship with you, because that's the way you've created us. Help us to grab hold of that, Lord, and to begin working our life around that concept. It's your name I pray. Amen. Let me challenge you guys, because I know this is like theory or whatever. Go back and have some conversations with teachers. Bible class, whatever, it doesn't matter, Bible class, English class, math class, whatever it is. Have this conversation. If you have questions how this works out, begin that conversation with the teachers. Begin with your parents at home. We love you guys. This is just great. Have a great rest of the day. And we will see you. Leave the chairs here. Junior high.